This is BoomerLife on CL 650.
I'm so tired, I haven't slept a wink. I'm so tired.
That song makes you sleepy just listening to it. Welcome back to Boomer Life. I'm Zach Spencer, and today we're joined by the SnoreDentist. And you can spot the SnoreDentist car because it says Snore Doctor on the license plate.
It does.
And you put Snore Doctor because?
Dentist didn't fit on the plate.
Dr. Charnel Muir is our guest, and we're talking about, if you sleep better, you have a better life. Generally, you feel more alert and awake, and you probably experienced that in your life. Everybody has, where they don't sleep well for whatever. Maybe they're stressed out, something going on in their life, and the next day you feel terrible.
Yes.
And that can happen every night, right?
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people every night. They just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here we are, beginning of 2017. Do you see a spike at your office, and people, now that it's a new year, will make a resolution to finally get their snoring resolved?
Yeah, usually because they've spent the holidays sleeping at someone's house, or someone's taken over their guest room and their snoring has become more evident to other people, or they've been back in the bedroom with someone who's complaining. So New Year's can be quite a spur for that. But it's also a time when people want to be healthier, and they can be driven to do things like eat better or exercise better. And it's really hard to have the energy to go grocery shopping or to exercise regularly at the gym if you're fatigued and you're tired.
Well, I know what that's like. I travel a lot. So people say, oh, when you're there, why don't you just go to the gym, right? And it's like, well, if you've just flown for 10 hours and you're tired, the last thing you feel like doing is strapping on your runners and going to the gym, maybe for a walk. That's fine. But so that's the same effect you have when you're not getting a good night's sleep every night. You certainly don't feel motivated to go and work out.
Absolutely not. And it just keeps going. Like, you're just always like that every day. And it's hard to be motivated. You know, you set these New Year's resolutions, and they say that it takes 21 days to make a habit, and you listen to all this gung-ho and you're ready to go. And then you get up in the morning and you're tired, right? And you're like, well, I'll start tomorrow. Well, there's just a few things that can help the sleep. And one of them is getting your sleep looked at to see if there's something that you should be doing to improve your level of sleep or quality of sleep.
Okay, let's turn that on its head. People who have come to see you, they get their oral device that helps them sleep. Mm-hmm. The snoring and the apnea is decreased. They're getting more air. They're getting more oxygen. And so now they're feeling better during the day. So do you see a correlation in their appearance and their lifestyle? So now they're sleeping, they're getting more energy during the day, they're exercising more, they're eating healthier, they're hitting goals in their life that they wouldn't have otherwise tried to achieve because they felt so tired. So do you see that trend in patients?
Absolutely. They're more energized to go and watch the kids play soccer. They volunteer as the coach now because they never had the energy to do that. They go to the gym themselves regularly. We see patients are able to lose weight easier for a number of reasons. One is the chemistry that happens when you sleep better, and the chemistry that is kind of revolves around how your body handles food and sugar. But the other is that you're able to go to the gym and exercise more regularly. Now, it is important that you don't exercise right before bedtime, though. You want to give yourself a couple of hours to slow the metabolism down, and the heat that generates from exercising can make it uncomfortable to go to sleep if you're too warm. So, it's important that you figure out a schedule and a routine that works for you. But people will come in, their eyes are brighter, they've got better color to themselves, they care more about how they dress and how they come across, they're happier. Right? I've really improved their life in a number of ways.
Because we're talking about it being, the first few days of the year and people making New Year's resolutions maybe about snoring, but a lot of people make New Year's resolutions about weight. Mm-hmm. So explain that relationship. Why would somebody who's snoring and maybe has mild sleep apnea, why is it affecting their weight?
Well, there's chemistry that goes on in your brain when you sleep, and there's these kind of hormones, ghrelin and leptin. And ghrelin is the one that stimulates you to think that you're hungry and want to eat. And those hormones and that brain chemistry is disrupted when you have a condition such as sleep apnea. So what happens is you respond differently to sugary foods and you crave more of them. So it just really affects everything to do with your diet and your weight. I know a lot of people that say, I eat really well, but my metabolism is really slow. Well, have you had your sleep looked at? Do you know what your cortisol levels are doing at night? Do you know that you're getting good quality sleep and that you're not doing a fight and flight response all night long? So things like that really are connected. Now, that's not to say if we treat your snoring and sleep apnea, you can eat 3 cheeseburgers at lunch.
Oh, darn it.
And control your weight, right? Like controlling weight has a number of things involved in it. But sleep is often overlooked in that formula.
And that is part of the cycle of if you're feeling better, you're more motivated to exercise. And
that's right.
So
yeah. It's all a big cycle. It really is. And sleep is often overlooked in its role in how it affects those things.
So what is the path that people take when they come to see you? I know a big part of it is the testing that you do. So explain what somebody goes home with when they come to see you.
People will come to me, say a person comes to me and says, I'm tired during the day. I sleep 8 to 10 hours a day and I never feel rested. Or they come in and say, my snoring's driving everybody nuts and I made a New Year's resolution that I would treat it so that everybody else could get sleep in the house. We send them home with a home sleep monitor, and it's a very simple monitor to wear. It's not invasive. It's just 3 parts that you put on. You sleep with it. You drop it off the next day. We download the data, and we have a look and see what you're doing at night as far as breathing, oxygen, snoring, and whether there's any sleep apnea.
And so does that really change the device you're going to get?
No, it doesn't change the device. What it does, though, is it tells me the degree in which your sleep disordered breathing, how bad it is, what degree it is, and that often will help me decide where we should start the airway opening process. And or whether you are severe enough that you really should look at the CPAP first as a therapy. And then if you can't tolerate that, come back to me as an oral appliance. So the very severe patients, it's recommended they try the CPAP first in the guidelines, and then the oral appliance would be their alternative therapy.
But somebody who's maybe not severe, should they do the oral device first? Before, what's the balance there?
A lot of that will be patient preference, and the new guidelines say, patients should have a choice in their therapies. There's 2 therapies out there that are shown to be quite effective in mild and moderate sleep apnea, and the patient should have a voice in what therapy they go for. So
explain how you adjust the oral device to open the airway for someone who is just snoring because they make noise and somebody who has apnea.
Right.
Snoring, a noisy snorer versus apnea.
Right. So for most noisy snorers, we start them between 30 and 50% of their jaw range of motion. And for apnea, we would normally start them at 50% and can move them forward from there. So most jaws move forward and back 10 millimeters. Where we start them will depend on their severity, but all of the appliances can slowly walk the jaw forward by fractions of millimeters until we find a position that holds the airway open enough to control the snoring and the sleep apnea.
And this lower jaw forward sensation, how long does it take to get used to that?
It's interesting because you're not holding your jaw forward. So it actually is quite easy to get used to. The appliance holds your jaw forward. So if you move your lower jaw edge to edge where your front teeth touch, where you'd say bite into an apple or a sandwich, And if
I'm doing that now.
Yeah, if something...
Everybody in their car is doing that now.
If something were to just allow your jaw to rest there instead of resting farther back, that keeps the airway open, and most people adapt to that in the first 1 to 3 nights. And even when we take the bite registration for the patient, which everybody gets their own customized bite registration, when we take that bite registration, we always say, is there any pain or discomfort with your jaw being in that position? And if there is, we start farther back, because all of these appliances can walk your jaw forward with time if we need it.
So do you see that over the years, that they start out, as you said, 30%, and they're getting older and what have you? You have to move it forward a little bit over the years?
We do. We follow up with our patients every year to make sure. We also teach our patients how to adjust their own appliance at home over that year if need be. So say they gain some weight halfway through the year, or say with the aging, obviously they'll lose muscle tone, or they develop allergies, or something else affects the airway. They may or may not want to adjust the appliance slightly forward to compensate for that. But we naturally will see the condition worsen over time, especially because of age, and we have the adaptability built into the appliance to move it slightly forward if we need to.
So you have actually some here on the desk. It looks like a upper and lower retainer, basically. Yeah. So it goes over your teeth and the top and the bottom, and that's to secure the device.
Right.
And then your lower jaw is forward. The question I have is, do you sleep with your mouth open then? Can you put your lip, will you sleep with your lip shut?
Right.
Or will you sleep with your mouth open?
Ideally, everybody should sleep lips touching, teeth slightly apart, breathing through their nose. That's the ideal stability for airway, and it's the best airway breathing you'll ever do as far as oxygen exchange. So breathing through your nose releases a lot of chemistry that's built into the nose and the sinus that allows that air to be exchanged in your lungs better. So there's reasons to breathe through your nose, right? Now, with an oral appliance in, some of my patients will experience a slight difference in how their lips rest closed at night, because something's between their teeth.
Sure.
So their mouth will be slightly taller. And that resting lip posture can take about 2 to 4 weeks for the lips to relearn. But where the lips touch and close and rest is a muscle memory. It's like walking upstairs. You don't think about walking upstairs until you go to a house that was built in the 1920s and they have the little stairs. And suddenly you're tripping upstairs or downstairs like you've never walked up or downstairs in your life. It's just the muscle memory. If you walk up and down those stairs every day for 2 weeks, you'd know how to walk up and down the stairs. Muscle memory has been rebuilt. Same thing with lips. So the lip resting posture, we always try to establish that back again.
That's the voice of Dr. Charnel Muir, the SnoreDentist, based in North Vancouver. SnoreDentist.ca is the best way to get in touch, and you can just get an appointment right there on the website. No need to call, and we'll find out more about the SnoreDentist next on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.